This is a dumbbell bicep curl, one of the more classic bicep developers that you can do. This exercise has been around forever for a good reason because it works pretty damn well. When performing this exercise, try to keep your elbows relatively still by your sides. They can move around a little bit, but we really want to be isolating the bicep here. You'll notice that I rotate my wrists from a neutral position to a supinated position at the top. The reason for this is one of the actions of the bicep is supination of the forearm, which means that we can get a little bit more bicep activation by rotating the dumbbells out towards the sides. It also means that we get to work some of the other muscles of the bicep and forearm, like the brachioradialis, for the first little part of that repetition when the hands are in a neutral position. This exercise is all about feel. You've got to feel that contraction in the muscle, so try to keep your form strict and make the bicep do the work. I like to perform this exercise with both arms at the same time. Some people like to do one arm at a time, but I think this is just a way more time efficient way to get the job done. And it also requires quite a bit of core stability and control to maintain that upright torso and upright posture as you lift both dumbbells up together. A couple of very common mistakes you'll see here that people do is they won't control the negative and they'll let the weights drop, and then they'll use momentum to swing the weights back up to the top position. Leave your ego at the door, pick a load that you can actually control throughout the full range of motion. Control that eccentric, feel the tension in the bicep as they lengthen, and then squeeze on the way up. Another very common mistake that you'll see is people stack the dumbbell directly over the elbow at the top of the repetition. In that position, there's no tension on the bicep. You can hold that all day because the weight is stacked directly over the wrist and elbow and gravity is working through the joints rather than the muscle holding the weights in that position. So basically, if you let your elbows come too far forward at the top of the repetition and your forearm ends up being perpendicular to the ground, there is very little tension on the bicep in that position. That's why you'll notice at the top of my range of motion, I always try to keep my forearms on a slight angle and I never allow the dumbbells to stack directly on top of my elbows.